A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. I am Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, after days of opposition crying foul over alleged tampering of the EVM machines, now Election Commission has thrown open challenge to the scientists and experts to hack its EVMs. Well, that is our top focus this morning. That and much more in this bulletin. Let us start with the headlines. Election Commission's open challenge to political parties. The poll panel asks them to try and hack EVMs. Centre welcomes move. Repolling in 38 polling stations for Srinagar Lok Sabha polls, counting for assembly by-polls in 10 assembly seats across states. After India's stern message over Kulbhushan Jadhav's death sentence, Pakistan NSA says India and Pakistan cannot continue to be enemies forever. Petrol and diesel prices to see daily changes from 1st of May. State fuel retailers set to launch pilot for daily price revision in 5 select cities. And Sindhu, Srikanth and Praneeth to play their pre-quarter final matches at the Singapore Open Super Series today. First up, news related to elections and counting of votes for the by-elections to 10 assembly seats in different states will take place today. By-polls were held on 9th of April for 2 seats each in Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka and 1 seat each in NCT of Delhi, Assam, West Bengal, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan and Jharkhand. Well, by-polls were held after the Ater and Bandhavgarh seats in Madhya Pradesh, Nanjangud in Karnataka, Dhemaji in Assam, Bhuranj in Himachal Pradesh, Kanti in West Bengal, Dholpur in Rajasthan, Leelapara in Jharkhand and Rajouri Garden in Delhi. Now, stakes are high for the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress and the BJP for the Rajouri Garden seat. Well, a dismal 47% voter turnout was recorded in the by-poll. Well, the Rajouri Garden seat went vacant last year after Aam Aadmi Party's Jarnail Singh quit to fight the Punjab Assembly elections in February this year. And repolling in 36 polling stations of the Srinagar Lok Sabha seat is taking place today. Well, the voting began at 7 in the morning and it will conclude at 4 p.m. today. Well, the polling stations fall under Chadura, Budgam, Khan Sahib and Chari Sharif assembly constituencies. Well, the Election Commission took the decision after going through the reports submitted by the returning officers and observers. Well, the polling for the Lok Sabha seat was held last Sunday. Large-scale violence erupted during the voting on Sunday, resulting in the death of 8 civilians. Also, the lowest turnout of 7.14% was recorded during the polling. And the counting of votes will be taking place on Saturday. And our top story this morning. Well, the Election Commission has invited political parties and experts to an open challenge to try and hack EVMs. Well, there have been no dates that have been decided by the Election Commission, but the poll panel has said that it will hold the challenge in the first week of May and would continue for 10 days. Well, the last time such an event had taken place was in 2009 with 100 machines from different parts of the country. Then the Election Commission has said that no one could hack the EVMs. Well, the specifics would be decided by the Election Commission's Technical Expert Committee on the EVMs and the details would be made public in the next couple of days. Well, there is a strong possibility that the EVMs used in Uttar Pradesh polls could be brought in for the challenge. While BSP had alleged that the tampered machines helped BJP win the polls. Well, as per rules, the machines cannot be taken out of the strong room for 40 days, a period within which an aggrieved person can file an election petition before the High Court concerned. Well, that period will end later this month. Now, reacting to the development, the centre welcomed the move, saying that it will lay to rest the opposition's allegations. Well, the Aam Aadmi Party has sought an official communication from the EC over the matter.
मेरा कहना यह है, इलेक्शन कमीशन ने जो कदम उठाया स्वागतनीय है। किसी के मन में कोई संकोच है तो इलेक्शन कमीशन के पास जा सकते हैं और इलेक्शन कमीशन जो ये मिशंस के बारे में लोगों को दिखाना चाहते हैं आपके पास कोई सबूत है, जाके वहां सर इस ईवीएम में ये डिफेक्ट्स है ये बता सकते हैं। और इलेक्शन कमीशन ओपनली पारदर्शिता है जवाबदेही के कारण से उन्होंने एक जो निर्णय लिया ये निर्णय स्वागतनीय है। हम इलेक्शन कमीशन को अभिनंदन भी करते हैं।
And in related news, well, opposition parties met President Pranab Mukherjee on Wednesday to raise their concerns, especially over the EVM issue, seeking his urgent intervention to ensure the rule of law in the country. Well, the delegation was led by Congress President Sonia Gandhi and former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. A memorandum presented to the president lists their concern, which include the attack by cow vigilantes in Alwar and what the opposition called efforts to muzzle the voices of dissent. They also urged the president to ensure that constitutional democracy and fundamental rights of citizens are protected. Well, the delegation also raised the issue of alleged EVM tampering during their meeting. After the meeting, Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad addressed the press, saying that the environment of fear and insecurity is prevailing in the country.
The environment of fear and insecurity is prevailing in the country, and voices of dissent are being muzzled. In democracy, rule of law must prevail, but self-styled lumpen elements have indulged in violence, mob lynching of citizens, and harassment is being witnessed across the country. Critical appointments have been made arbitrarily, bypassing the parliament and other institutions. Key bills are being disguised as money bills to bypass and undermine the constitutional position of Rajya Sabha.
On to some Parliament news now. Well, Rajya Sabha was adjourned sine die on Wednesday by Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari, bringing an end to the budget session. Well, Chairman Ansari asserted that transaction of substantial legislative business was witnessed in this particular session. Well, the upper house had 29 sittings, during which it deliberated for more than 136 hours.
The 242nd session of Rajya Sabha came to a close on Wednesday. The session began in January with the address to the President to both houses of Parliament. The upper house passed or returned 14 government bills after edifying debates. The House unanimously passed the historic GST bills to bring India under a uniform tax regime.
The session, which began with the address of the Honourable President to both the Houses of Parliament, assembled together on the 31st January, witnessed transactions of substantial legislative business. In all, the House either passed or returned 14 government bills which generated lively debates.
205 zero-hour submissions of urgent public importance were made, while the members also sought answers from several ministers on administrative decisions through 435 starred and 4,629 unstarred questions. Chairman Ansari also hailed the participation of members occupying the last two rows in the conduct of the business of the House.
Out of a total of 205 zero-hour submissions, they raised 86, which is approximately 42%.
Private members introduced 33 bills, while members also laid 76 special mentions on matters of public importance. During the session, 153 reports of various parliamentary committees were presented. Only one new member, Manish Gupta, was elected in the by-election from West Bengal in this session, while two members, Mithun Chakraborty and Bishnu Charan Das, resigned.
I take this opportunity to thank the Leader of the House, the Leader of the Opposition, Ministers of Parliamentary Affairs, the leaders of various parties and groups, and the honourable members for the cooperation extended by them in the overall functioning of the House.
The budget session 2017 commenced on the 31st of January. Both the houses were adjourned for a recess for a period of 27 days on the 9th of February to reassemble on Thursday, March 9th, 2017. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And a group of BJP members of parliament on Wednesday called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi to compliment and thank him for working for providing constitutional status to the new commission for OBCs. Well, speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister said giving constitutional status to the new panel will help improve the living conditions of people from these communities. Prime Minister Modi also asked the MPs to make backward classes aware about the bill and how it would be a game changer in their lives. He, however, accused the opposition parties of denying backward classes their rights by blocking the passage of a bill which accords constitutional status to the OBC Commission in the Rajya Sabha. Well, Modi expressed surprise at the stand of the opposition as members of all parties had been urging him for bringing in the legislation. While Congress, however, hit back at Prime Minister for accusing the opposition of denying backward castes their rights by allegedly blocking a bill which accords constitutional status to the OBC Commission. Well, the party said the Rajya Sabha, which sent the bill concerned to the Select Committee, is entitled to have its opinion on the legislation in a democracy, the meaning of which it alleged the Prime Minister does not understand. Well, staying with Parliament, Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, PJ Kurian, urged the government on Wednesday to keep a close watch on television channels that tried to spread communal disharmony. Well, the government also promised stern action against such channels. While cutting across party lines, the members condemned channels that try to weaken the secular fabric of the nation.
Raising the issue through a zero-hour submission, Javed Ali Khan of the SP demanded a ban on a TV channel that he said was involved in creating communal disharmony in Sambal district of Uttar Pradesh.
इस तरीके की अगर नीतियां कोई चैनल चलाएगा, हमारी सरकार मूकदर्शक क्यों बनी हुई है? सरकार क्या उस चैनल को बंद नहीं कर सकती? सरकार क्या जांच नहीं कर सकती? वो लगातार ऐसे आह्वान करके Places of Worship Act 1991 को
Deputy Chairman PJ Kurian urged the government to take note of such incidents and underscored that channels can't be allowed to spread communal disharmony in the country.
मीडिया की स्वतंत्रता ठीक है होना है, लेकिन कम्युनल डिसहार्मनी फैलाना उनका काम नहीं है. अब देखिए, that's all. They cannot spread communal disharmony. Yeah, I agree. So government should have a watch on this.
The government also assured the House of initiating a probe into the matter and taking strict action against the guilty. MOS Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi clarified that media cannot use its independence to vitiate the secular environment.
मीडिया की स्वतंत्रता अपनी जगह है, लेकिन वो इतनी भी स्वतंत्रता ना हो जिससे कि किसी भी समाज के किसी भी हिस्से का, देश भी किसी भी कोने का सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द बिगड़े. जो बात कही गई और जिस तरह से दिखाया गया है उसमें उसको हमने ध्यान में लिया है और हम उसको कैसे जो आवश्यक होगा.
Members across political spectrum associated with Khan on the issue and demanded stern action against such channels. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Lok Sabha was also adjourned sine die on Wednesday. Well, according to the Speaker, the House lost 8 hours and 12 minutes in disruptions, but it also worked overtime for over 48 hours. Remember, the second part of the budget session had commenced on 9th of March.
The budget session of Lok Sabha was adjourned sine die on Wednesday. The session saw the passage of 23 bills, including 4 crucial legislations related to implementation of the GST. Speaker Sumitra Mahajan also hailed the tabling of the combined general and rail budget on February 1st, calling it a historic step.
सभा ने 28 घंटे और 40 मिनट देर तक बैठकर अर्जेंट गवर्नमेंट बिजनेस भी पूरा पारित किया और यह सभी बातें अत्यंत सार्थक और उत्पादक सत्र ये रहा है जो हमारी सबकी साथ के लिए भी बहुत अनुकूल है.
The House also passed the Maternity Benefit Amendment Bill 2016, the Enemy Property Bill, the Mental Health Care Bill, Motor Vehicles Amendment Bill of 2016, HIV and AIDS Prevention and Control Bill of 2017, and the 123rd Constitution Amendment Bill, and the Specified Bank Notes Cessation of Liabilities Bill of 2017. The two-part session, which commenced on January 31st with the President's address to a joint sitting of Parliament, had 29 sittings, clocking 176 hours and 39 minutes. The lower house also lost 8 hours and 12 minutes due to disruptions. With Ravindra Singh Sharon, Pranav Goswami for Rajya Sabha Television.
And apart from the legislative business in Parliament yesterday, in its report tabled in Parliament on Wednesday, the Public Accounts Committee noted that the 2010 Commonwealth Games were a complete management failure. Well, the panel also cited that this could have created a national shame. Well, the Public Accounts Committee has faulted the then UPA dispensation for taking the games management out of the government machinery, leading to a number of errors. Now, underlining that delays occurred in the initial stages of the game, the panel said that decisions were taken in haste and contracts were awarded on the basis of single tenders and negotiations at the same times. Well, the report noted that undue concessions to a contractor, unwarranted relaxation to a private company and dilution of criteria to thwart competition in various instances was taken. It also said that there was a lack of transparency in the bidding process as well. However, the outgoing PAC chairman, K.V. Thomas, ruled out any misdoing on the part of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. And in Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break here. We'll be right back with more news. Stay tuned.
From cowries to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicator's daughter.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, in the backdrop of the simmering tensions between India and Pakistan following the death sentence to Kulbhushan Jadhav, well, Pakistan's NSA has said that the two nations cannot remain enemies forever. Well, a Pakistan National Security Advisor Nasir Jadjua said this while speaking to the Canadian High Commissioner in Islamabad. He said that there is a need to engage and resolve disputes. Remember, India had sent out a stern message to Pakistan saying that there would be consequences to bilateral ties if Jadhav was hanged. And petrol and diesel prices in some cities will now see daily change in sync with the international rates from 1st of May. Well, state-owned fuel retailers said that they will launch a pilot for daily price revision in 5 select cities and gradually extend it to all over the country. Well, Puducherry, Visakhapatnam, Udaipur, Jamshedpur and Chandigarh are the part of a pilot project. Instead of using fortnightly average, now the petrol pump rates will reflect a daily movement in international oil prices and the rupee-US dollar fluctuations. Well, state fuel retailers currently revise rates on the 1st and the 16th of every month. Well, a daily price change will remove the big leaps in rates that need to be effected at the end of the fortnight.
It is good because the price will be not be bigger, means there will be no big difference of price minus plus. Whenever there is a forthcoming price divisions, the volume of minus plus goes very high. So it impact the customer as well as the dealer. So once the price goes down, that time our dealers get a huge loss. So if this is good, better, in fact it's good decision if it can be changed regularly on a daily basis.
On to some other news. Well, retail inflation increased marginally to 3.81% in March after a surge in the prices of a few food items. Well, industrial output measured by the industrial production figures shrank by 1.2% in February.
Consumer price inflation rose marginally to 3.81% in March compared with 3.65% in February. Retail food inflation stood at 1.93% in March, slightly lower than 2.01% in February, as prices of pulses and vegetables fell by 8%. However, sugar and confectionery turned costlier by 16.5%, while prices of snacks, sweets and prepared meals shot up by 6.13%. Industrial production contracted by 1.2% in February, with a sharp dip in manufacturing sector. In contrast, IIP grew 3.27% in January. While mining sector grew by 3.3% in February, manufacturing declined by 2% and electricity production expanded by a mere 0.3% in the month as compared to February 2016. The Reserve Bank of India kept its key lending rate unchanged last week. For 2017 and 18, RBI projected retail inflation to average 4.5% in the first half and 5% in the second half. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the first India-UK strategic dialogue will take place today. Well, ahead of the crucial talks, Britain has sought holistic relations between both the nations. It has said that the relation between the two countries should not only involve a sale and purchase of equipment, but also include a sharing of expertise. Well, British Defence Secretary Michael Fallon is in India and will join his counterpart Arun Jaitley for the dialogue, which was agreed in November 2015 during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to London as part of the Defence and International Security Partnership.
British Defence Secretary Michael Fallon is in India for one of the most important tasks post-Brexit. As a leading defence equipment manufacturer, Britain wants to associate with the Indian defence industry. And in his meeting with Defence Minister Arun Jaitley on Thursday, Fallon is likely to propose that Britain and India produce and export together.
Today, not just to see what more we can make in India or make with India, but to see what more we can design, develop, add value with India and export together to third countries and to new markets. How we can better match British experience with Indian brainpower.
Before the formal talks, Fallon underlined that Britain too has witnessed periods when it faced significant procurement roadblocks from the legislative side that were subsequently eased with the private involvement. India's proposal for technology transfer is one such area where Britain is trying to work out a framework.
But it's also that we work together to design, to develop these technologies, to use the best of Indian brainpower against the expertise of our long-established defence companies, to create the new products, the new high-tech products that the rest of the world is looking for. Now, that is my vision from this collaboration.
In his talks with an Indian think tank in Delhi on Wednesday, Fallon disclosed that Britain is providing lakhs of jobs in the defence industry. Fallon may also suggest reforms in the procurement process to streamline the defence trade that has been stagnant in the last few decades due to political understatement in India.
India can be best opportunity for Britain post-Brexit, but the question is that of being competitive and also convergence on issues like China and Pakistan. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Sanjay Kumar in Delhi.
On to some international news now. Well, Russia has come to the rescue of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad yet again. Well, Moscow on Wednesday vetoed a draft resolution at the United Nations Security Council that would have condemned last week's alleged chemical attack in Syria. Well, the resolution was presented by the US, UK and France that besides condemning the chemical attack would have also backed an investigation on it on the ground by the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. Well, the Western nations reacted angrily to Russia's veto, which protected its ally at the UNSC for the 8th time. Well, China abstained from the vote. The suspected chemical attack on rebel-held Khan Sheikhun on the 4th of April this year killed more than 80 people. Western allies have blamed the Syrian government, and US President Donald Trump ordered missile strikes against Syrian Air Force base in response. Both the US and Russia on Wednesday also spoke on how the events in Syria had further deteriorated relations between the two of them.
To my colleagues from Russia, You are isolating yourselves from the international community every time one of Assad's planes drop another barrel bomb on civilians, and every time Assad tries to starve another community to death. People not just in the West, but across the Middle East and the world are speaking out against Assad's brutality. It is long past time for Russia to stop covering for Assad. It is long past time for Russia to push seriously for peace and not continue to be part of the problem.
Right now, we're not getting along with Russia at all. We may be at an all-time low in terms of relationship with Russia. This is built for a long period of time. But we're going to see what happens. Putin is the leader of Russia. Russia's a strong country. We're a very, very strong country.
Можно сказать, что уровень доверия на рабочем уровне, особенно на военном уровне, он не стал лучше, а скорее всего деградировал.
And in the backdrop of rising tensions with Russia, well, US President Donald Trump on Wednesday also backtracked on his stance on NATO, saying that the military alliance was no longer obsolete. While hosting a NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg at the White House, Trump said that the threat of terrorism had underlined the alliance's importance. Well, Trump's abandoning of position of lambasting NATO comes after last week's US missile attack on Syria. Well, Trump has repeatedly questioned NATO's purpose, while also complaining that the US plays an unfair share of the membership. Meanwhile, Trump did not only do a U-turn on NATO, but also on China policy as well. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Trump said that he would not label China a currency manipulator, despite repeatedly pledging to do so on his first day in office.
The Secretary General and I had a productive discussion about what more NATO can do in the fight against terrorism. I complained about that a long time ago, and they made a change. And now they do fight terrorism. I said it was obsolete. It's no longer obsolete. It's my hope that NATO will take on an increased role in supporting our Iraqi partners in their battle against ISIS.
And on to sports now, where Indian shuttlers PV Sindhu, Kidambi Srikanth and B. Sai Praneeth will play their pre-quarter final matches of the Singapore Open Super Series today. Well, both the players registered a contrasting win in their opening round matches on Wednesday. Well, fifth seed PV Sindhu staged a superb comeback to win 10-21, 21-15, 22-20 against Nozomi Okuhara of Japan. Srikanth, on the other hand, had a comfortable 21-12, 21-11 win over Japanese Kenta Nishimoto. Well, Praneeth also advanced to the next round with a victory over Emil Holst of Denmark. Well, the women's doubles pair of Ashwini Ponappa and Siki Reddy will also enter the second round, and they will play their second round matches today. Well, the rest of the Indians had to face disappointment, however, as Ajay Jairam, Saurabh Verma, Samir Verma lost their respective matches. Well, that's it from me and my team in this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day ahead.